All right, field dress. First of all, it's a big bloody mess.
May I have your attention, please? Viewers should resist the urge of dialing 911 to report the video host of suffering from a heart attack or respiratory failure. He'll be okay. He's just old and fat. Enjoy the video.
So that she'll kind of sit on her back. Now, they won't balance on their back. Make life easier if they're close to it, right? See, like this, okay? Head on top of, laying on top of her head. And so what we're gonna do, what I'm gonna do, you're not here, but I feel like you are. I'm gonna start here. And I'm gonna cut around the girl parts and around the poop chute. And I'm gonna ream that out. And the intent is later I'm gonna pull it back through. Then I'm gonna cut right up through here. Since she's not wet, she's not lactating, I'm just gonna leave the udder on, and then I'm gonna split right up through here. And be careful because she's bloated up because I ran over there. You know, she's been dead for an hour, hour and a half, something like that. The bacteria in her rumen doesn't know she's dead yet. They're still in there digesting, but the air it's producing has nowhere to go. So anyway, so then we're gonna come to the sternum, and we're gonna pick a side, and we're gonna rip up forward with the knife, forward and up, and getting through the old collarbone there is always tough. Then I'm gonna go up her neck to about right in there. Oh, hope you're getting all that. And we're gonna go, I see that grass burr waiting to stick me in the finger. Then we're gonna grab her windpipe and esophagus, and we'll start pulling it out, make sure this is clear. And then the esophagus and the windpipe are gonna come, that's gonna be my handlebar. I'm gonna hang it on, pull, and cut away things that try to attach. Then we're gonna come to the diaphragm, which separates the lung and hearts from the guts. And we're gonna cut it back, and then I'll reach in there and grab a big handful, and we'll slop it out. And then we'll reach in and do a little more cutting up under here on the inside, and then we'll pull the girl parts and the poop chute back through the body cavity and out. And that way I don't have to burn up my knife or carry a hatchet or whatever trying to chop through the center of the pelvic bone. So about like that. Okay. Now, one mistake I've made already. Oh, so I'm gonna put my legs right behind her knees, her back knees here, and that's gonna raise her butt up, whoop, like that. So now, see, I'm holding one there, holding one here. If you shoot a big buck or even a little buck, these hawk glands down here can get really nasty, so you might want to cut those off before you do, or your britches are gonna stink pretty good. All right, so I have already failed, wasting battery power here. I'm gonna take off one layer of shirt so I can roll my sleeves up because I like these shirts. I wear them a lot, and I prefer them not to have permanent blood stains on them. Okay. Now, sharp knife is key. Get little poops out of there. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start right here. We're gonna go around and underneath. Then we'll make another cut around and meet up with that other one. You gotta make sure it meets up. And then we're gonna pull that out, and we're gonna kind of saw, being careful, don't go too far, you'll bust the bladder. But we're gonna kind of cut around in there and remove all the tissue that's attaching all this to the inside of the pelvic bone, okay? And what you'll find is if you find yourself going hack, 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 you need to sharpen your knife, okay? And there's a little hacking always, but if it doesn't glide right through like mine is, then you need to stop and sharpen your knife. Now look, I went all the way through, okay? And now, I'm gonna squeeze that last little poop out of there. Now, see all that tissue that hangs on? It goes into a tunnel there inside the pelvic bone. And so I'm going to cut all that away. Remember, don't go too deep so you don't cut the bladder. But you do want to go deep enough. And just hold on to this so you can swap your knife around other ways. So don't ever use the cutting edge of your knife toward your hand, okay? That's a big no-no. Go all the way underneath. Make sure it's all separated. And it is. Shoo, it's hard on my back. So now, since we're right here by the truck, I don't have to drag her through the grass any further. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna connect my cut from there. I'm probably just gonna go, or I'll probably go around the udder. We don't have to worry about it right now. A lot of times if you're shooting early, like October, November, something like that, and cut that off, and it comes right off. It ain't no big deal. So we're gonna stick the knife right under there like that. And I'm just gonna kind of get her started. Now up here, you gotta be careful. Don't get too deep, okay? Do more skinning than you do cutting. Reason is the nasty stuff is right inside here, okay? Now, let me cut that back some more. Let me cut the udder off so you can see better. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't just for show and tell, you see. Because what I want you to see is how all this comes to a V. See how tight that's all fitting in there? Don't need that plant. You got this line coming in, this line, they all meet right there. There's a really heavy tendon. You can see it mush. If you'll slice across it gently, not too deep, until it kind of slices through, it doesn't take a lot, and you're in the body cavity, okay? And once you're in the body cavity, like I am now that's intestine right there. That's what we don't want to break. So we're gonna get our fingers in there, kind of give a little rip and pull to make the hole a little bigger. Here comes the intestines wanting to pop out, because remember, she's bloated up. So I'm gonna take 2 fingers inside. I'm gonna pull up to try and get me some space away from those intestines. I'm gonna stick my knife right in between there, very shallow, not sticking it down like that, but maybe forward more, okay? I'll be really careful as I go forward. We've got a nice headshot doe here. There's no sense in adding rumen fluid to their difficulties. Just keep going. Keep going until you feel the sternum. I feel like a little bony kind of piece of cartilage. There, I can feel it. You can see I'm going off to one side, and that's all right, because I'm going to go up the side of the sternum here. So, here now. Here now is the sternum, right there. See that flap right there? This right here. So that's the bottom of the middle part of these, so ribs on each side. Well, the ribs attach to this breastbone just through cartilage over here on the sides. And so if we get on the sides, the knife will slice right through that cartilage, okay? That takes a little force. What I like to do is get up on top of them, straddle them with my feet so they don't wobble around, straighten their head out. Oh, dang it. I also like keeping a clean hand and a dirty hand, which I just violated. Anyway, keep her head straight, and that'll help. So, here she is, all balanced up, guts coming out. I want to push that rumen, that's the stomach, out of my way. I'll cut that back so you can see better. Okay, so there's a whole lot of hair and meat and stuff in there. I don't usually do this, by the way. But what you want to do, you want to come up just right here on this side, at the bottom of the breastbone of the sternum, okay? And you're going to stick a knife in there, and I'm going to put my elbows on my knees, good and firm. I'm going to put that knife in there with this hand holding the guts back. I'm going to rip my knife forward and up, okay? Now the elbows on the knees aren't a huge deal until we get to the collarbone up there. See, that's just slicing right through that cartilage. Now we're at the collarbone. Find a little groove, and then it's forwarding up really hard with your knees on your elbows on your knees, forwarding up until you get through. Okay. Oh, dang! I forgot. I'm supposed to collect blood. Okay, I had to collect some blood there. I almost forgot from my dog. All right. So, and when you cut through right here is when you cut through a big old artery. Now, so I'm going to start right there. You can see there where I've gotten through the last of the ribs and the collarbone. And now I'm going to cut right up through her neck. It's always a really thick hide. And what you're going to notice is what looks like a little piece of conduit. And that's her windpipe. Now, right now it just looks like muscle. So you cut underneath this one layer of muscle. And there's the conduit. Okay, I want to skin that back so you can see a little better and so it'll come out easier. So guys, hanging on in there. I want to cut them off on the left, cut them off on the right. Now, the esophagus clings to the back side of the windpipe. So if you'll just reach underneath and with your fingers, here, let me do it this way. With your fingers, just reach underneath and kind of pull through that membrane. I'm trying to do it with my fingers, and now I can't. And they'll come through eventually. There they come. Okay, now the esophagus is right there. Okay, now sometimes because they're ruminants, they will have regurgitated. And so what I like to do before I cut that, they might have rumen fluid in it. So I lean it over like this, and then I'll slice through it in case there's any green gopher guts in there. Okay, now this is my handlebar. The conduit, the windpipe, I'll quit calling it conduit, and the esophagus. This is all connected, okay? It's a long train. And so we're gonna hang on to this until we get around through the diaphragm. Don't cut too much, kind of pull more than you cut, but if you got guys that are holding on, you gotta give them a little cut so they let go. Okay, now I'm gonna reach in there, grab me let's cut this guy back right here right quick, a little bit. I'm gonna reach in there, grab me a big old handful, and pull up and away. Now here is this little flap of muscle right here, the diaphragm. You gotta cut through it, okay? So now grab a good handful, hold it, don't let go, gotta stop bending over, my back's killing me. But then you slice right down that membrane, close to the body. Remember, this is the stomach, be careful. This is the liver, these are lungs. Careful. One more big pull. There we go. I'm gonna go to the left with it. Out go all the goodies. We'll look, she's bred, so we'll look and see what her fetuses were. I mean, they're obviously deer. We can actually sex them at this. It's late January, middle of January, I mean. And so the bladder's in there, so be careful. You want to cut these little guys here that are holding on. There's a baby. There's a baby. Right there inside that sack. Next year's baby that will no longer be. Thus population control, right? You get me? So we just want to cut all this back. Pull it through. Have to choke up on her a little bit. Dodging the bladder. Have to cut a little. And then it pulls right out, okay? So there's the poop chute and the girl part that we cut off first thing, okay? It's all one long connected piece of gonkus, okay? Now, that's it for field dressing, okay?